Hello everybody, my name is Bob, and this is Desperate Space Program. Well, now as you may recall, our poor but semi-advanced country got preempted in space by another country which was allied to it, called the Probial Federation. This is a Probial Federation vehicle. They want to get to the moon to get their guy back because, you know, we have two known convicts, no doubt, who were in prison for horrible crimes. They're stuck in a space module on the moon together, so which doesn't really make anyone feel really comfortable about the whole thing, even though they're getting along swell. So hopefully, what we're hoping to do is get this thing to the moon, get their guy back. So there'll be only one person, the original, or the astronaut or the cosmonaut from the UKKR, the Union of Corporate Kerbal Republics, on the left of the moon. So they're trying to get their guy back. We don't know that this is not tested. We don't know if it's going to work. It may not even ignite. It may fail on the launch pad. But this is what they are hoping. This is unmanned right now, so it's going to land on the moon. They got their advanced nuclear engines going on here. Land on the moon. Hopefully, get their guy in the capsule. Get him back to Kerbin. Is what they're hoping. It may not happen. All right. With no further ado, let's see. In 3, 2, 1. Yeah, well, our fuel lines, I think, are screwed up. That usually happens. Liquid fuel is product, yes. Okay, rather than have to reconstruct the whole thing, I tried a shortcut, which is to attach this fuel line to this fin here, which should be in a line with that engine. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's go ahead. If it doesn't work, I have to basically take the thing apart and put the fuel line back and do this lower part all over again, because it's all kind of bunched up in there, you know. Let's give it a try. In 3, 2, 1. Not what I wanted. Not at all. Nope. Alright, once again. In 3, 2, 1. Nope. I have to take off all these air intakes, put the fuel line back, and then put the air intakes back, because if you load it from a save version, for whatever reason, it doesn't correctly do that routing. So yeah. Okay, these highly complex spacecraft require some finesse sometimes. Okay, 3, 2, 1, jet engine start. And hopefully lift off. Okay. Okay, I'll let you know when something interesting happens. Okay, standing by for our gravity turn. I'm going to say gravity turn. Movement is real smooth. Now we're picking up speed here, so we need to ride herd on our inclination. Especially when we get above 15,000 meters. We need to make sure we're tilted over pretty far. Because the idea is to pick up a lot of speed in the atmosphere. Excuse me. High enough in the atmosphere that that we're not getting a lot of air resistance, but low enough to where we still get oxygen, you know. Because jet engines sort of do need that. Okay, getting a point where we need to tilt over a little more. Idea here is to at the very upper reaches of the atmosphere, get as much horizontal speed going as we possibly can. Now, with the complexities of all these intakes here, I don't know how that's going to detach, but we'll work on that when the time comes. Excuse me. Now, this is quite a bit heavier than the previous spacecraft, so don't know how it's going to work out. Okay, we're starting to pick up our apoapsis quite a lot here. The idea is to get this apoapsis at least up to about 80,000 meters in the atmosphere, well, if at all possible. I'm really up in the upper atmosphere here. Jet engines are still operating, weirdly enough. Alright, well, let's see if we can get this thing detached. Might be easier said than done. Like I said, might be easier said than done. Okay, let's try a little centrifugal force here. Worst case scenario, I could always just simply activate the nuclear engine, let it blow all that junk off, but obviously that's fraught with certain perils. Alright, well, it wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. There's no obvious structural failure. And our apoapsis is quite a ways out there, so we should be having no problems getting to orbit. Okay, we're in orbit, quite a higher orbit than I needed, 136 kilometers. But that's all good. And we're going to head to the moon when we get lined up for it. Okay, we're about to depart for the moon. Excuse me. Nuclear engine, so obviously not a whole lot of thrust going on. Not a whole lot of thrust going on. Efficient, but not too thrusty. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit, make sure it doesn't overheat. Yeah, it's an interesting looking spacecraft. Good enough. Oh, well, perhaps not good enough. That'll work. Alright, off to the moon. This is the Draco 1 spacecraft. The successor to the spacecraft that got one of our first guy onto the moon. And hopefully is heading to the moon again, and we'll pick that guy up so that these two convict slash cosmonauts don't kill each other or invent some sort of new sick prison rape thing. Yeah, don't want that. that looks always looks bad in the space program if you have convict rape going on. Yeah. Okay, we're about to break into lunar orbit. And we don't have a particular abundance of fuel here, so our hopes of getting this guy back in one go may not work out. Yeah, so there really wasn't any kind of savings over the other spacecraft, which didn't have the nuclear engines, but it was less weighty. We also had a longer boost phase in the atmosphere, which was good, but that means that now we don't, the liquid fuel and oxidizer mix is not ideal for making use of all of our oxidizer. If there's some way to vent that excess oxidizer to space, I would, but I guess it doesn't really make that much difference. All right, well, let's see if we can get this thing down at least, and then hopefully maybe at some point we will figure out some sort of refueling strategy of some sort. Okay, I think we've learned something important here, which is for a spacecraft this small, the extra fuel economy from the nuclear engines doesn't outweigh the very considerable extra weight from the nuclear engines. So it's very much a question whether it will even get to the ground. And stupidly, I didn't put a docking port on it, so I can't refuel it. You know, so we just have to go with what we have. They'll just have some extra living space, I guess. Assuming the thing doesn't splatter into the ground, which could well happen. Yeah, what the fuck was I thinking? No docking ports. I can't even refuel the sumbitch. Oh well. Experiments. Experiments must happen. And I only have 38 units of fuel left, so I pretty much have to do a death dive here. Just get down close to the ground, hit it full thrust, which granted this thing doesn't have much thrust to begin with, and hope for the best. Okay, well this has got to be a huge disappointment for the Probial Federation that was hoping to bring its astronaut back back to Kerbin. This vehicle may land or may crash, but in other cases it's not going to have enough fuel to go anywhere once it does land or crash. Well, we did have a successful landing with 2 units of fuel remaining, but it's not really going to go anywhere from here. It's just going to sit around, take up space on the moon. Yes. It may be time for our allies, the Union of Kerbal Republics and the Probial Federation, to get their heads together and get a slightly more capable spacecraft going. Because this, obviously, I mean, it got here, it's here, but it's not going anywhere from here. So, and it can't even refuel the damn thing. So, we shall take it up at a future time. And until next time, hasta la vista. Here's our little prisoners. our little prisoners. Hey guys. Not quite as optimistic now. Kind of like, eh. Kind of like, yeah, we're marking time here. It's like prison except in space. Prison in space. Oh yeah. I mean, they're having an okay time. Alrighty, goodbye. Jebediah Kerman, Air Ace, holder of major world records in stupidity, is going to once again attempt to do a loop-to-loop around the nerd tunnel. Coming in cautiously this time. He knows what can happen if he fails. Coming in a little low there. Up. Came in a little bit too low. He's okay though, ladies and gentlemen. I think he's going to try it again. Jebediah Kerman, he is nothing if not persistent. We spoke to Jebediah right before his flight, and he expressed perfect confidence that he would be able to do a loop-to-loop around the nerd tunnel without any kind of difficulties. Almost, ladies and gentlemen, almost. Very close. But it must have burned him, aside from the whiplash and the major broken vertebrae, it must burn him to know that he was so close. He's got to pick up the pieces, ladies and gentlemen, and just go forward again next time. He's a persistent man, persistent and stupid man. But that's all for right now. And until next time, hasta la vista. Adios. Say goodbye, Jeb.